Hey, welcome back, Corey. Another episode of the Cattle Drive here. This is season two, episode 27. Uh, well, I think that we've been 27 episodes since January, huh?
Boy, that ain't no kidding. Just seemed like the snow melted a little bit ago.
Oh boy, I'd take some snow melt right now. But hey, welcome to the show. I'm Brett Carter. With me is Corey Thompson. Behind the scenes is Paige Jones and Lacey, my wife. She is not behind the scenes, but she's a part of the crew here. We have got quite the evening planned, Corey.
Yeah, we do. We're gonna hit all facets of the industry. We're gonna start off here in a minute. Hear about the Ohio and the Illinois State Fair, and talk to the evaluator of them two shows, Brandon Callis. Then we're gonna talk to Jerrod Arthur about sorting up there at Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at the Wisconsin State Fair, and kind of dive into them three state fairs. And then we're gonna hear from the episode sponsors, the Griswolds. We got Jeannie and Garrett on tonight. Kind of talk about some of the stuff they're doing to get into the classic sale down there. Then we're going to round out the evening with what I think is going to be a really interesting talk with Tom Van Asselt with Cattle Plus Consulting up here in South Dakota. Tom, a nutritionalist, works with several large feedlots up here. Kind of tell us the ins and outs and marketing these cattle, and kind of what he foresees in his crystal ball this fall.
Yeah, after last week we had Odie on, we had Dr. Cassidy on visiting with those guys about commodities and things. I don't know about you, but I know we visited this week. Our phones blew up with guys that really enjoyed listening to those guys. And at the end of the day, selling these show cattle or selling these bred heifers, we still have to keep inputs in check. And these guys are the people that we lean on. And so having Tom on this week, and I'm tell you what, I'm as excited about that as I am to listen to these guys talk about these Midwest state fairs. To be honest with you, but hey,
Yeah.
let's dive right into this tonight. You can see it is a drive marketing promo, but let's talk about some of these current events within agriculture. Corey, give us an update on what happened with you this last week.
Yeah, we started today. Actually, we started week 2 of treatments. It's a 2-week intensified program that I'm on. So today I had my second dose of chemotherapy, and then 2 more doses of radiation. I got 8 more doses over the next 4 days of radiation, and then um, Friday at 3:30 I get to ring the dang bell. So
Good.
uh, watched everybody do it when I've been there. I finally get to do it myself. So I don't know if I'll be here next Monday night for sure, but I will dang sure send you a video of me ringing the bell Friday afternoon.
There will be no questions. We will have that. It's exciting to know that you have got over the hump.
Yeah.
Is more than halfway there now.
Yep.
Uh, so it is exciting to hear that. Exciting to hear that from you. I know this last week you said there was one night it kind of got you down, but you said it was worth it because you got some good sleep out of the deal. So
Yeah. Oh, it puts you to. I slept pretty good today too. Yeah.
good deal. Well, it's good to see that you're up and around. But as they say in the rodeo world, the Iowa State Fair and West Virginia State Fair, it's your time to shine. Colorado and Minnesota is on deck. South Dakota and Nebraska, you are in the hole. So we are journeying through Midwest Fair season. It is exciting as ever to get to visit with these guys that's had a finger in sorting them and lining them up. I don't know about you, but this week's kind of we get two guys and talk about three state fairs, Corey.
Boy, it couldn't have worked out. It's like it happened for a reason. We tried to have Brandon Callis on after Ohio, and his connection was a little shaky, and and it just so happened that he judged Illinois last weekend,
Yeah.
and tonight we got him hooked up and solid, and we can hear about both of them in
Let's
one whack. So.
Yep. We got Brandon Callis with us tonight, and there's Jerrod Arthur. He was busy as ever last week as well, sorting Wisconsin State Fair. Guys, good to have you tonight.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Brandon, talk to us real quick. You're fortunate to do 2 of these state fairs. Corey, you can dive right into them Ohio ones if you'd like.
Yeah. That the Egbert family wins with a Here I Am son. That calf was campaigned by that family very, very well this year. Jones family out there had In God We Trust yellow calf that was reserved. The Kitty family had a Here I Am that was 3rd. The Underwood family had a Here I Am that was 4th, and the Fulton family had to throw market heifer in there for 5th overall. I imagine the breeding cattle, the breeding part of you probably imagined the steers that one would raise.
I actually, when I went to describe her, I think my exact words were, "She looks expensive." I didn't know how else to describe her. She just looked like one that, man, I want to buy a flush on that thing.
Yeah,
sure.
She did look very, very nice.
Yep. But no, I tell you what, the coolest thing about it, Jerrod and I were talking about this when I was driving home from Illinois. 2 kids that kind of got to scrub the same cattle in the same barn when we were 12 and 13, 14 years old, get to judge back-to-back state fairs. It was a blessing to kind of see where you come from, full journey on that deal. But yeah, Ohio, that was awesome. It was deep. There was a lot of good ones there. It was one of those shows that if you didn't win and you were the 2nd or 3rd in class, I hope you were mad, because I mean that's how good they were at that show. Just a lot of good ones. Little as always, when it's good, little bitty things sort them, and you hate to break hearts like that, but at the same time, you got to put your big boy pants on and judge the show. But that one at one, he's a special one.
Right.
That class he came out of, I just saw a Snapchat of that class, and boy, that looked like a deep son of a gun.
It was, yeah. That class was really, really deep. Just they kept coming, and that was the last one in. It was like, whoa, boy, as good as it is, I'm glad that one showed up.
Yeah.
Right. Hi, Jerrod.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. We've been listening to Brandon here talk about these steers in Ohio, and he was talking just about how good they are, and talking about if you were 2nd or 3rd, he would hope you would be mad. But he said you had, in a situation that's sorting a state fair, you've got to put your big boy pants on and just go pick the right ones. Talk to us a little bit about Wisconsin.
Man, first off, I had a blast. Quality was incredible. I was actually just blown away by how many cattle were just so well cared for. Just incredible hair coats for a summertime show. Well shown, well presented. So that part, it always makes it easier when the cattle are presented well and shown well. But quality was just unreal. Lots of breed champions and reserves that I could just tie into and get fired up about. Top 5 was awesome. All of them in that top 5, I think they could go to a lot of places and compete, but just a lot of fun. Had a blast.
Right.
Hey, you missed it, Jerrod, but Brandon touched on that, you guys scrubbed on some of the same calves growing up. Tell us a little bit about, I kind of forgot about that, but tell us how cool is that you guys judged 3 of the biggest state fair in the Midwest, and both kind of grew up together and kind of fought through the same deals to get where you're at.
Yeah, it's pretty humbling feeling. I was pretty honored with the opportunity to get to sort a state fair, and that was my first state fair I've got the chance to do, and to get to do actually one in between Brandon's 2 that he got to do. Thought that was pretty cool. I mean, we've known each other a long time, and we both just have ate this up our whole life, and so to pour that passion into getting to sort some cattle like we got to sort, that's a pretty cool deal.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Both of you guys are as competitive in the ring as anybody. Your kids are involved. You guys grew up in this, and both of you were competitive. What is it like being on the other side of that fence for both of you, being that competitive does it change your opinion of being on the other side of the fence?
I mean, I guess when you're standing in that ring, it is a different feeling than standing outside. And I've been fortunate to get to do a few of these here lately. And so it makes you double think, how you feel when you're standing out there on the opposite side, as an exhibitor, as a parent of an exhibitor. But, man, standing in there, to me, it just gives you a lot of respect for how much time and effort those kids have poured into them cattle and how much work it takes to get them to look like that. When I was sorting through that show a couple times, I spent a little extra time on some of them tougher classes. And I told those folks, I said, hey, I'm not going to apologize for taking longer because I know how much it takes and I know how long you've worked. So we're going to give these kids every opportunity we can to get the best evaluation possible. And then we're going to sort it the way we see it. So, I think that as far as being, in the ditches and grinding and trying to be good at this, I think once you step in that ring, it makes you think about like, man, it does take a lot of work and a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of everything to get to this point. And them kids deserve a little extra time when it is close and the cattle get that good. And there was some situations like that in Wisconsin, and it's always a lot more fun when you get to see cattle that like, hey man, I would take that thing home and show it every day of the week that they had a show. So it makes it fun for sure.
I'll throw a curveball at you on that point. I find because I didn't win as many banners as Jerrod has or any of you three, I spend more time. Like if there's 7 in a class, 6 and 7 is just as important as 1st and 2nd for me, just because that kid, again, had a journey. They spent a lot of time with that animal. No, the cards, the good Lord might not have blessed their situation to have the right kind of calf to do what they needed to do, but it don't take away the time they spent with them. And so that became important to me. Just people probably scratch their head. Why in the heck is he worried about 6th and 7th? We got these champions up here, but I was that kid, so I try to get it right.
I understand.
That's a good way of putting that.
Yeah.
Hey, and we'll round out here Illinois, Brandon. Now on the pulse, that deal looked like an absolute slugfest.
It was from the start to the finish. That first breed of Herefords, it was good, and it just kept going, and it got to those 2 classes, and it was interesting. But I guess the best way to put it, that calf that won looked like he came to win that show. There wasn't a fresher calf in the entire barn. He kind of stuck out he wasn't perfect, but boy, everything just worked for him, and you could just tell it was his day. I don't know how to describe it. It's just that calf just kind of stuck out and surfaced the more and more you looked at him.
Right.
You bet.
I watched that class, actually that division, I should say, when you were picking champion crossbred, and you did just what Jerrod said. You just took extra time. You made no apologies about that. Mm-hmm. And I bring that up because I'll tell you, the 4 of us have been in a situation where we've judged a show before, and you take extra time and you can almost feel the vultures climbing on your back. And it doesn't make the situation go away, but you genuinely feel like if I take 5 extra minutes, I'm going to get this right. And I think sometimes it just makes the world get small,
Oh yeah.
I felt for you, Callis, because it looked like you had 2 incredible show steers in front of you.
Well, I did. And the crazy part was where I wanted to change. The one place I wanted to change the champion, that reserve was, awesome in that one spot. He was 12:30, not 12 o'clock, and that made the difference.
Wow. My gosh.
And that was the Geyer family wins with the Here I Am Monopoly. Gensini was reserved with the Here I Am Maternal Maid. Bendino family, that's probably Eric's boy, was a Here I Am. Was 3rd. Nightingales had a made to order that was 4th, and Holes had a Here I Am that was 5th. And I forgot to mention Wisconsin. The Runkle family, they have been dominant up there in Wisconsin. Win with the Here I Am. The Bayer family, Ty Bayer, his brother there with an In God was reserved. The Kapowski family, good friends of mine, In God We Trust, that was 3rd. He was 3rd. Bayers were 2nd. Cuckler with a Here I Am was fourth, and Linder with a mainline, little oddball bred one there was fourth. That was a yellow calf, wasn't it, Jerrod?
Fifth overall. He was like a silver baldy.
Silver baldy. Yep.
Yeah, we were in the shorthorns and then the shorthorn pluses, and there were some good cattle in there, but maybe not quite as deep of breeds. And that I'll never forget that shorthorn plus steer come walking in that class, and I was like, whoa, this thing's a shorthorn plus. I mean, that was a dang good calf. I mean, really good. And I of course, you don't know anything about them or how they're bred, and we get done, and then we get to the backdrop, and I dug that calf, and I asked those folks, I was like, now what is this calf? And they told me, and I'm like, wouldn't have guessed that. And so, but it's fun, I enjoy when you see a good one that maybe isn't just, as mainstream as what you're used to, and that makes it fun when they're still that good. So
that bull was out of that girl that raised him used to work for me, and that main line was a main bull, I think, out of a Phil Lautner bull, main. God dang it, yeah, a Phil Lautner main bull though. Went back to that, but yep.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for taking time tonight to slide on here. As always, it's nice to have you. Better than that, it's nice to have you as friends. So congratulations for what you guys got to do recently, and be careful on the road.
Will do. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care, guys.
You bet. See ya. 2 class acts right there, Corey.
Yeah, you bet. That was awesome.
Yeah, you bet. No, it's good to have those guys on here. And so, hey, we're going to segue right into to our herd report, powered by our friends at CCI. But real quick, we're going to talk about the Drive Marketing. That's who's on tonight. That's a little gig of ours here at the Cattle Drive. It's a new and innovative way to market your cattle. I think there it is. There's a couple of different levels of things that, from breeder standpoint, Corey, that if you can see that right there.
Yeah,
there's a couple of different things.
I guarantee everybody can.
Exactly. No, there's a standard, somebody that's new, maybe an online sale, you're limited on some funds and you're wanting to get out there. There's a standard version. The level 1 is $500. You can feature 4 picture lots. It's a round table type discussion, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
the Drive is.
It allows your customer base or customers that are potentially looking at your program to start buying from, to basically meet you in person, see you in person, kind of see if you give the appearance that you're somebody they want to do business with. It's just way more personal than a book ad or just print ads in general.
And I think, without a doubt, print media has its spot. How many people look at it, that's for you to decide. We can tell you how, a lot of times they can tell you how many is printed. You're going to start to see over this next week, some guys that used us last year, I'm sorry. You're going to start to see some testimonials roll out of guys that used our service, and you're going to get to hear directly from those guys how it impacted their sales, whether it's a personal side that you can't get out of print media. There's just a lot. There's another level here, the premium. That's what most people like to do. It's level 2. It's $750. It's 6 features, and they can be video as well. Interactive with our social media on sale day. Lots of shares, lots of posts that way. View numbers have been really good, and the analytics side of it has been outstanding. That's something, if you'd like to entertain doing a Drive Marketing with Corey and myself, visit with one of us. You can find our information at thedrivemarketing.com. Visit with myself, with Corey, Paige, Lacey, any of us. We'd love to help you. We'd love to be a part of your marketing campaign this fall. But Drive Marketing, thedrivemarketing.com. So, hey, herd reports just now starting to kind of fire up, Corey.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we just had one sale on CCI this week, and boy, the boys at Spruce Mountain in Colorado, they set the tone for the fall, and they set it pretty darn high.
Holy smokes. Tell us about what went on up there.
68 lots, gross 2,879,500 to average 42,345. 105 individual lots average 27,423. Two high sellers both bring 170,000 each. One was a January Deadwood daughter, a calf, and one was a 2-year-old Salvation daughter. Congratulations to Spruce Mountain in Colorado, and the great sale they had on CCI this week.
Yep, you bet. Hey, we've got all kinds of stuff planned for fall. As sale season's just around the corner, stick with us on this. CCI Live is a big part of what we do. Innovation marketing reports. Hopefully the SC crew send us some stuff in. The steer bidder crew's chomping at the bits. Show Cattle Connections, another new one that's going to be a part of what we're doing with sale results. So if you haven't booked your fall sale, there's plenty of places to do that at. There's plenty of opportunity out there. Get your sale booked. We try to work with these guys, getting everybody out there, let them know just how much quality flies around in this business. And so,
Yeah.
oh man, I can't wait. It's one of my favorite things we do is sale reports. So unfortunately, it's just not quite sale season. So, but talking about somebody that does have a big part of sale season is our guest tonight, coming up next.
G-Bar.
Yes, that is right. We are blessed with the look department and the boss. Yeah. We got all the G-Bar looks and the biggest boss in town with us tonight on the cattle drive. If I can find, there we are. Hey. Whoop, got us on mute, Jeannie. There we go. Hi.
Not very often we're too quiet around this joint, so.
Oh, good deal. Good to have you. Jeannie Griswold's with us tonight. And as I said, the cow boss of the G-Bar, Mr. Garrett Griswold, with us tonight. Corey?
Yeah. What, Garrett, Jeannie, and glad you're on. What do you got going around G-Bar this time of year?
Right now, we got some racing cup calving, and we're getting.
That's loud.
Right now, we got some pitch calving, and we got some show heifers in the barn for the classic. And I think we're pretty close to getting the breads ready.
Oh,
You can feel it. It seems like right around the middle-ish of July, you start feeling the anxiety start building up, and fall's coming and sale season. I mean, you're just getting ready for it to all kick in, and it is here. I mean, the pressure, you can just kind of start to feel it just pushing down on you a little bit.
yeah.
Right.
Now, Garrett, I've seen you horseback down there. I know you're a cowboy.
Yeah.
Your dad sent me a picture last week, and I had no idea the ability that you had as a fisherman.
Holy smokers, look at that.
Them fish look bigger than you are.
I caught a 32 inch and a 34 inch in that one.
Holy buckets. What kind of fish are those?
Striper bass.
Oh, they are. Wow. Boy, that one is a monster.
Do they fight quite a bit, Garrett?
Yeah, they play pretty hard.
Awesome.
Harder than a bass for sure.
John and I aren't real sure where he comes from. Neither one of us are fishermen at all. And Garrett is about as happy with a pole in his hand as anybody in the world, huh?
Hey, Jeannie, I completely disagree. John has fished more mud holes in his time for high quality cattle than anybody.
That would be true right there. I'd have to agree with you on that one.
Garrett figured out it's a lot more fun to fish in the lake. So, yeah. Hey, tell us something. We hit on it just a second ago around Griswold Cattle this time of year. You know, with you guys fall calving, it's weaning time. Is it what goes into the classic in December? I know it doesn't just happen. So when do y'all start that prep?
Oh God, I'd honest to goodness say that process starts when the first one hits the ground in January or so. I mean, you start watching them. You watch them all calving season. You always have your favorites. I mean, you've got those ET calves that are hitting, but when you go through the pastures, I mean, you'll have those little bitty calves, and everybody's like, that one there is pretty good. I mean, it starts all along, but come about July, I mean, the pressure's starting to mount. You've got all of those August, September ads that are going to be due. I mean, you've got to get those things in and start getting them ready. I mean, December seems like a long ways away for a lot of people. For us, I always enjoy the summer. I always tell John it's like we get to take a deep breath, but then July hits and you start to feel it. I mean, it's time to be game on. You start thinking about marketing. You start thinking about the sale. Catalog and pictures. Anybody that's putting on a sale knows the amount of work that goes into it. And we spent a little time away from here, and I'll tell you what, we showed back up, and I think our crew had probably 40 or 50 heifer calves that they had rounded up. I mean, they're in the barn. They're getting tied. Getting started on feed. I mean, it's game time around here.
Right. You hit on fall calving, at your house. Is there any sires of anticipation in the falls right now?
We're just starting right now. I think we've got 4. We're just barely starting on some ET calves, and we'll have a few different rounds of those. Is there 5? These that are hitting the ground, we've got some Sam Jezebels, which is a Daddy's Money 5066. I mean, a lot of those, we've got a lot of bet on reds, a lot of bank on it. A lot of those bulls that we're pumped about, and some data banks. We've just got some real exciting matings coming out of donors, but then we've got a lot of our fall cows are always kind of fun. We have to dip pretty hard into our spring cows for the sale, and our fall cows, we don't ever have to sell them, so we get to keep the best ones of those. So I really actually enjoy fall calving when it's not 100 degrees outside. I am not a fan. We've got one dumb Reese that decides she can't keep a calf by her, and it about drives me crazy. Those little fall babies are in all reality more fragile, I think, than the springs just because of this heat. I'm ready for the 70-degree days, but I mean, fall calving is a lot of fun around here. Those cows are fat, they look good, and it's just. I never thought I'd enjoy it as much as I do, but it's a lot of fun.
Right.
Boy, that just the people I talked to and from what I've seen around the country this summer, that Sam deal, boy, he died way too early in life. That deal has completely erupted here this year. Not that it wasn't good last year, but this year it was used so much on more of a widespread audience. Boy, they probably look good.
Yeah, I think the first year, I mean, everybody kind of flushed to him, but now, I mean, they're flat out using him on cows. We're going to offer a bunch of that. Our December sale is the 16th and 17th, and that's where we offer all that Sam semen. And I'll tell you what, you better grab that stuff up. Maggie's show string of Macy and Jordan are out of town, so I hate to tell you, I don't spend as much time in the show barn as most show moms probably, but I went up there and helped her turn a bunch of her heifers out, and we've got a string that's heavy on Sams, and even these calves, all these 5 calves that have hit the ground, every one of them's a Sam right now. And those things they're just good cattle. They're not just good show cattle. We watched that semi-junior nationals, and I think that's the thing that got me as pumped up about them as anything, is that every one of them might not be just like, holy cow, show heifer, but every single one of them that I saw there was going to make a cow. And that right there, if I could make a bull do that all day long, that's what I do. Just good, solid cattle.
Awesome.
Garrett, how's your Sam bull calf doing?
Bank vault.
He's got a bank vault.
Oh, that's right. He's a bank vault. Yeah. Is he doing good?
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a few days.
Tell him he got a flush, his horned cow. She made the donor.
Yeah, I got a picture of her right there. Hey, that's a good. You can't see the cow in the picture. That's a good little cow.
That cow's a little bandwagon cow, and I'll tell you what, she doesn't. Everybody teases on her and kind of makes fun of her, old Liz. But that is a I'm not a fan of horn cattle. We've got one from Jerrod here that I cuss on a daily basis that is in with our donors, a bucking bull cow. I actually really like. She's really nice uttered, and that's a really neat little cow, huh, buddy? Now the bucking bull cow Jerrod and I might have to have a talk about that one.
Yeah, that's right. That was a bankable bull calf. You sent me that picture back in June, and that's going to be a really good bull for the bull sale, isn't it?
Yeah. It will be.
Tell them what you flushed her to.
We flushed her to New California and we bred her to New California.
Oh, wow.
Putting all of our eggs in one basket there, huh?
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That's all right.
We'll put 5 in the spring, then we'll put 5 in December for right now.
Oh, yeah.
Beat it. I told you he was the cow boss at G-Bar. Hey, Garrett, you just continue to show your mom the value of a good horn cow. Can you do that?
Yeah.
I knew you could. Well, hey, it's exciting to have you on here. Jeannie, thank you for supporting us here and being a fan of the Cattle Drive. And you guys take care in Stillwater. Maybe send some rain on south if I can use it.
Hey, every prayer that anybody sends up, I'll tell you what, we pray for both of your families every single night, and we pray for rain without fail. So,
Jeannie, thank you. Garrett, good to see you. Take care and keep your dad in line, okay?
Okay, I went down to the pond today and it was so dry. Grass was starting to grow along the bank.
My
all right. Thank you, guys.
All right, take care, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet. Man, that's a good time. Looked like a nice bull, Corey.
Yeah, he was. He's pretty proud of him. He's going to be featured on the bull sale next spring.
Yeah. Hey, let's get into this meat and potatoes tonight. Tell me what we got going on here.
Yeah, we got Tom Van Asselt from Cattle Plus Consulting up here in South Dakota. One of the premier nutritionalists up here in South Dakota that several of the big feedlots use up here. Tom, we're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about Cattle Plus Consulting, kind of what you do with that company, and kind of your day-to-day activities.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. So I guess I got into the nutrition and the feed business, worked for numerous companies up here in the South Dakota, Minnesota area, a little bit in Nebraska and Iowa, and I've went on my own here about 14 years ago. And so I'm strictly independent. And one thing that I really enjoy about that is I get the opportunity to do what's best for the cattle. And, sometimes, when you work for certain companies, there's goals and achievements you got to make for certain products. And everybody's got some good products. And not everybody can have the best, but everybody's got a little bit of everything. And it gives me an opportunity to use a lot of flexibility. I learn a lot of knowledge, got a lot of friends in the industry, and certainly blessed. I work with a company, Midwest PMS, liquid company in the United States. Hats off to them. They've been very good to work with. And I work with other companies as well. And it's nice being independent and use a lot of flexibility. And like I said, let's do what's best for the cattle. If we do that, it's good for everybody usually.
See, it's honestly a lot like the cooktail industry, really, because I've been to your golf tournament, Tom. I had no idea the wide range of different yeasts and this product, this additive, and it's the same but different. I mean, there's just different additives that can tweak your bottom line or tweak the result you want, and if they do the right thing, it's what you need to do.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success in looking at utilizing different products from the different companies, and they're always on the horizon. There's a lot of new technology that continues to come. There's some new exciting products that are coming down the pipeline that we're waiting to kind of get out for availability. a lot of testing goes involved. And, I use a lot of science-based research, been taught that way. And then sometimes you got to step out. I like to use some products, either on my own place or with limited suppliers, and we'll try them. And, we've got some very good clients willing to step out and say, hey, let's try it. But yet we're not afraid to, at the end of the day, say, well, maybe that didn't work quite like we wanted it to, or we found some pretty good little secrets that really can help at the right times. So.
Right. Tom, it probably helps listening to you there. It sounds like you've got a very diverse clientele that's within, not just centrally located in a region, but I mean, it sounds like you've got a big piece of the pie in that country. How much does that help you? How much does one place help the next place? I mean, you talked about doing things with science, and I do believe in a lot of that. My question is how much of it just real world knowledge do you gain that helps you in the business as well?
Well, that's where it's all at, because the best learning devices you can actually have is the one that really affects the pocketbooks. Absolutely. And the good thing about that is, I do use a lot of experiences from different yards to the next. I get very blessed that way, where I work with quite a few different scenarios. I work with cattle feed yards that are all outside lots, to monoslope bedpack barns, to confinement barns, to a lot of these producers are running cow herds. They've been had bull sales. I get to hear and see a lot of challenges that might happen in one area, and that might be an instance that might have happened to somebody a couple of years ago, and the guys start explaining some of their issues, and all of a sudden it's like, well, that sounds like a pretty familiar thing that we ran across. That sometimes when you're limited in your backyard, you don't always get to have that experience to try to help these guys. And so, we try to use it on a confidential basis, but we definitely share and use our experiences of what we've seen work at different places. And I learn just as much from my clients as they learn from me. It's all about networking, putting the right tools in the right spots, at the right time, and all trying to help us all.
Yeah. Well, hey, most of this rest we're gonna talk about, Tom, is gonna require your crystal ball.
Okay.
Obviously there's no secret the drought in Texas, Oklahoma, cow numbers dwindling in that country down there. What do you think we could see come fall and into next spring and in the year or two to come, as a result of lower cow numbers out there?
Well, you look back on the data, and this feels a lot like we were back in 2000, starting in 12, 13, and 14. Cattle numbers started to, decline. Our cow herd started coming down. We had the drought issues in that same time frame. So this to me feels a lot like that.
The only difference was we were in the drought that year.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of it.
Yeah, we've had a pretty little tougher go here last year, but up around our area right here in South Dakota, in my immediate area, we can all use a shot of rain, but we got some areas that are looking better. Unfortunately, some areas a little tougher, but
yeah.
The thing I remember about that is we thought that cattle market should have kind of escalated. And it's kind of interesting. When you think back, you kind of get your tier levels. I mean, you either have dollar fat cattle, or you get up in that $1.20, 25, and you move to that 35, and then you get up in that 45, kind of where we're at right now. And then you kind of see it kind of a jump. In the past, we got up in that 160 range. Well, one thing about it is when that drought happens, we're not expecting a lot of, them excess heifers, those cows coming to town. And so what it can do is it can kind of prolong the good that you're anticipating right now, but it makes it that much better down the road when those areas do receive rain and we start pulling them off. Like right now, I think they said 36% of the kill is made up of heifers. That's higher than usual. The cow kills have been extremely high this past year. They're continuing to, up in Montana, North Dakota, it was extremely dry. We took a lot of cows out of that area. Now them areas are sitting pretty good in general compared to where we've been. But we got a lot of pressure from down south. So when you look at the different marketing companies, there's a lot of bullishness out there. We know where our cow herd is at. But on one hand, some companies are out there saying, guys, you gotta remember there could still be some cattle coming to the bunks here for just because there's no resources out there in some of those areas for the forage to keep them out there and growing. So I think the biggest thing there is you got to still do business. Look at your numbers, look at a good price. But I do think from the standpoint on this cow market, like up in this part of the country here, I mean, they're paying up. I mean, pretty much you got an 85 to 105 price on cull cows, 85 on some of these thinner, younger baby cows that don't have quite as much on them. But a lot of the mainline cows are bringing 95 cents right now. Some fats are up around $1.10. The other thing that happened when it got good is when you start running tight on cow numbers, when they start pulling them fats in to help that grind, that helps take a lot of tonnage off the market. So creeping carcass weights down, that's going to help us. I think we're going to be in pretty good shape.
Good. You just talked about those areas that are affected. The one part of it you mentioned was the forage, if those guys would have that. From a nutrition standpoint, we talked about this just a little bit last week. Guys they're dumping the cattle due to lack of forage for the most part. What do you foresee some changes feed wise? And I know it's going to be regional, but what are some things that you see coming down the pike that could help a guy blend a ration that would help his bottom line right now?
Well, the first one, if you are fortunate in an area and you can get your hands on some of these rougher feed stuff, straws, the corn stalks, and things like that, as long as you take a good balanced approach, get your hands on some, byproducts, wherever region you're in, and continue to use a good vitamin mineral pack to make sure, because we're using some lesser qualities, we can make a lot of things work. Now, when you get into some of these areas where that might get tough, then you got to start being selective of what you kind of keep around. I think one of the things that's huge up in our area that's really caught on is a lot of guys are utilizing rye. A lot of guys are fall seeding that into the corn stalks or into chop silage ground. That's been huge to help supply a great roughage, because it's just like really good grass hay. You can get a lot of tons off it. It's worked very well. Guys have been able to graze on it, kick out on it. A lot of cover crops they've done an excellent job promoting those, and that really can help on that pasture situation when we start getting rough, going into this time of year. So I think that's probably one of the most biggest initiatives as far as helping reload that forage, you could say, and give us some ability to maybe keep them in some facilities instead of kicking them out on grass quite so early or having them run so long. And grass is still one of the toughest things to address that market to get. Seems like no one ever has enough grass for these cattle, it seems like.
Okay. Well, there's no doubt nobody ever has enough grass. And so in my country, if you've got enough grass, you buy more cows. So
yeah, we've done that too. And then all of a sudden we're like, well, we might be stocking just a little too heavy, but
absolutely.
We'll figure out a way.
Yep, you bet.
Hey, Tom, I've been watching these sales on Superior last month. Some of them pre-sale on calves delivered in the fall. What do you think? And them sales have been absolutely nuts. You think that deal will stay strong going into the fall? Them guys will bring them to the barns, later this winter, or what are your thoughts there?
That's kind of a tough question. I mean, when I look at, where these futures are at, I mean, there's really no secret. Most of the time, whatever these cattle are bringing on these sales or in these barns and that, today we're in pretty competitive, tough era as far as keeping the bunk lines full and that. it doesn't take very, you don't get very many days where all of a sudden there might be a buy opportunity, but a lot of times we're in that break even area. There might be a little bit of dollars to advance on certain groups, but the futures is looking pretty good. I mean, I think you're going to see these fats in a range of 150, 160 if that corn stays up in that 6 range. I think that, we're seeing feeder board 185 to 190, maybe go to 92, 95. That's kind of a plateau. You get some big breaks on some corn, and then you can see them feeders escalate. But I think on these fats, for the time being, we've got a strong basis. The choice select spread is $25. That's why these, good high grade and quality cattle, they're worth a lot compared to, I guess you could call them commodity cattle. So that will help. But I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. I think trying to guess when you sell those calves, I think it goes back to your resources. What do you have available? What can you turn into cash, but yet keep enough of that back to make your other operations go? I think, given the feed yards, value-added calves, vaccinated up, giving them feeder cattle, that's a big thing. We're finding out up in our country, well, I tell you what, they're lapping up these 1,000 to 1,100 pound steers all the time. We used to think we needed to dump them at 859, and these yards want them. They like them big doing cattle. So I mean, you can add value efficiently at your place. I think you're still going to be in pretty good shape here in the next year or two, unless we see some more unforeseen, instant come around. But.
Gotcha.
Is that choice select deal, Tom, over the last 10 years? Is that, I'm not familiar with it. Has that spread quite a bit in recent years?
Yeah, I think I was just pulling that up just to look here, and it looked like we're right now in that 25 range. And 2 times last year in 21, we got as high as over $30. Typically, a 5-year average right now is about 15 to 16, 17 bucks. But I think we're in the realm that, we've done an excellent job marketing it. A lot of these companies are really promoting it. And, I know choice meat costs a little bit more, but it's also hard to break habits. So when you're kind of used to that era, I mean,
Right.
Our exports have been really good. So the packers, they still want them cattle to grade. It's worth more to them to have them grade.
Gotcha. Well, Tom, it's been a pleasure to have you with us on Cattle Drive tonight. If somebody would like to visit with you more or call and pick your brain or maybe become part of your rotation there at Cattle Plus, how does somebody get a hold of you?
Well, I can give you my phone number out, but that's about it. I don't do a lot of major advertising. I let my clients do that. Corey knows my number there too.
Okay.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
you can sure call me and I can get you, text you your number. You bet. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Gotcha.
well, I appreciate being on here. I've enjoyed it, and you guys got a great show.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, thanks for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
Tom.
bet. You bet. Gosh, lots of knowledge and lots of, there again, that's week 2. Optimism is what the underlying word is. Stay hooked, and it's coming around the corner. So, hey, segment 6, Cattlemen's for Christ. Guess who we hooked tonight, Corey?
I'm excited. You and I talked today. We'd like to get some more friends involved with this and have more people get to, talking about some of their favorite verses. And
Yep.
you text Brandon Callis. We kept him hooked up on here, hopefully.
Yep, he's hooked up with us here tonight, and I got to tell you, I'm gonna read this because it came last week. It came last week in a message to me and Corey, and I wish that I could find it, Corey. It's on my text message, and now I can't. I can't seem to find it. Brandon, thanks for sticking around with us, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got it right here. I got it. Corey and I got a text message last week. Corey did Cattlemen's for Christ, one of the first times he's stepped out on the edge, and he said after it was over, he said, "Man, it felt so good," and I was proud of him. And we got a text message. It says,
that's the first time. I've attended church all my life. Grew up with parents made me go to Sunday school every week. But to be honest with you, I just got thinking about it. I just have never really put myself out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I
I
know
think and it felt really good.
Yeah, I all from the get-go of this, Brandon's been involved in Cattlemen's for Christ from the start. When this whole podcast live stream happened, I called him. I said, I feel like if I'm going to tackle this idea with these guys, I've got to share my faith, and I'm afraid I can't do this later. You got to do it out of the gate. You got to expose yourself. And so Brandon knew about this from the get-go. There's no line there. But I'll tell you something, I always from the get-go wanted it to be to where eventually we would get a text message and say, hey, is there anybody doing Cattlemen for Christ tonight? I would love to be on and share something quick. Last week is the first time I've got a text message to something of that, and it says, thanks for having me on. Y'all are doing a great job. A big fan of you guys being open and sharing your journey with Christ. It'd be pretty cool if being a follower of God swept through our industry and it starts with a deal like this. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't know that it will or it won't. I'm not doing it for that. But I do think the more we tell people about it, the more people you see that don't mind sharing. And Brandon, you have always been open with your faith. As of recent on social media, you have been challenged. Your faith has been challenged. And if you want to know more about that, go look it up. But you have always been steadfast. You have always been strong. And I appreciate you being around here tonight to share with us something.
Yeah, no problem. Something that's a verse that's been pulling at me. I always try to figure out competition, how we're supposed to compete. And it dawned on me the night before I judged Illinois, actually, and I shared it there at the end of the show. I didn't have the words of the verse, but I got it now, and I'll read it. It's Colossians 3, 23 and 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. And the way I tried to form that as us as competitors in the stock show industry, or just even the feedlot deal, like he was talking, that's a competitive business, being a feedlot consultant. If more of us chased it as if we're doing it for the Lord, we'd find that we have less enemies. We'd find that we have a lot more common ground. And that purple banner that we all decide to hate each other over, it's just that. It's just a piece of garment. And again, I see it when we get these college kids that competed against each other fiercely, showing animals. You get them here on campus and they realize they got a lot more in common. They become the best of friends. And all it was, you took that apple, that banner out of their way, and they learned what competition really was and what friendship and fellowship really was. And so that Colossians 3, 23 and 24 really spoke to me that, we ought to do it like we do everything like we're doing it for Christ, not for humans.
Right, absolutely. No, well, hey, I appreciate you sharing that. Appreciate you being open about your faith, and thanks for sticking around tonight and sharing that. So,
no, thank you guys for having me. Always
you
awesome.
did any more state fairs? I mean, you've done 2 of the 4. I mean, you got anything else?
No, she shut me down. Our falls were due on the 16th, and we had 10 of them by the 13th. She said, "Hey, it's time to stay home." So I'm home.
Gotcha. Brandon, take care. We'll see you here in a few weeks, man.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Take care. Oh, me. Well,
Yeah.
that was good, though, when somebody doesn't mind sharing their faith. So if you're out there, you're still with us, and you would like to be a part of Cattlemen's for Christ, you've got something you'd like to share, hit us up, shoot Corey and I a text. We'll slide you in here sometime. Love to have you. Hey, another episode underneath our belt. I think we're going to get this figured out. So
Yeah, one of these times for sure.
One of these days, Paige, we're going to do one in 35 minutes like we planned.
Yep. Hey, we're under.
Yeah, exactly. No promises on having Corey next week. May have a guest with us. May just be Paige and I. Who knows? Might trick Paige into getting on here with us for an episode. I guarantee you we'd knock 35 minutes out. We get her in. So anyway, hey, good to have everybody. Thanks for watching.